confront and encourage was the precept we're going to go over today.
Yeah, this one's really good for me because, well, I mean, I think it is for all of us, right? Like something will happen in our world and it's like so big and it's like, oh my God, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to do it. And the longer we put it off, the bigger it gets and the bigger it gets and the more we don't want to do it. And we build it up in our mind. Whereas if we just go confront the situation, or start doing the work or, just take that first step, all of a sudden it doesn't seem as big as we had built it up to do. And I think that's a lot of what we do in our business. Like we don't, um, we have to sort of confront stuff head on, like continually, but that kind of keeps stuff at bay as opposed to it growing big and big and big because we're like ignoring it and hoping it just goes away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what the program, there's, in phase one, there's a section on courage, and it starts to plant the seeds there. And then later in the program, the clients, they confront the things that they've done wrong.
Yeah.
They confront themselves and take that hard look,
Yeah.
by taking responsibility, doing the responsibility step of, writing down, all the times that they had wronged themselves or others. And then they finally, after that, confront the actual people that were involved in some of those transgressions. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But even before that, the first thing they confront is their trauma, like what was done to them to create this addiction that led to them doing, the harmful things to others and having to confront their wrongful deeds and all those sort of things. The first thing they have to confront is that deep, dark stuff that they've been, trying to avoid and not handle their whole lives and have been medicating to avoid having to confront.
Yeah. Yeah. The hard stuff, the stuff that really bothers you,
Right.
right? The
Right.
stuff that you want to just go away,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but it doesn't. It doesn't go away. It stays in there until you confront it and handle it and deal with it in a constructive way. It never goes away.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this precept, um, why'd you pick it or, I mean, I know based on the program, was there anything specific that happened with you that was like a big, confront and conquer moment?
I kind of feel like they all are in some way. I mean, even just like, for example, like our quarterlies, it's like, I don't, if things aren't going great or, I don't have great news to deliver, it's like, well, I still got to be in there and confront my group, but also give the reality of what's going on. And then, when we can all sort of talk about it and process it, and now we have ideas and here's how we're going to handle that. It is always so much better than coming into it. Like I worry about these things. How's this going to go over? What is everyone going to say? But then it's never as bad as I concern myself with how it could go because it always ends up being better. And it's because we just get in there and let's confront this as a group. What are our solutions? How do we handle this? But I don't think everybody, and I certainly don't think every group operates in this manner. Either their executives aren't given all the information or ooh, let's just keep this off of people because they're not going to know how to handle it or do it. I think we're very courageous in how we confront whatever's going on, give the details, and now how do we work through this healthily as a group and together?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that about our quarterly meetings. It's like everything's out on the table, and I can tell it's been, yeah, some confronting for you for sure. Like to talk to confronting us, about this is where we're at,
Yeah.
with everything. And and yeah, getting a little bit vulnerable and yeah, talking about what's going on, and what's going on. You talk about what's going on with you too, and how it's been hard for you. Just being the CEO and the different ups and downs we've had, as a company and different reality of things. A lot of it's stuff that's out of our control sometimes, it comes with insurance or banks and things like
Mm.
that. Definitely, uh, definitely tough stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
The other thing I've noticed, and I've had a habit of this, and this is why I like this precept so much. And there's certain areas in my life that I will ignore because I either don't have an answer or oh, it's a lot of work or I don't want to deal with this. And so I ignore it. And it doesn't go away. Like I like to think I could ignore it away, but it doesn't go away. And it's like that analogy of like the guy that's walking through the forest and he's got a monkey behind him and he's like, I'm just gonna ignore that and go faster. And then he's got two and he's like, oh fuck. And then, before you know it, he's got this whole tribe of monkeys chasing him that he's trying sees, but he's ignoring. And then when he actually just turns around and looks at the monkeys, they're like, oh, and they stop and then they walk away. And it's like, so there's definitely points in my life of things that I don't like to deal with personally or work wise that aren't my favorite things that I try to ignore, but they don't go away. And literally, I just got to get in there and deal with it and confront it and start doing the steps. And it's never as bad as it seems. It's just maybe shit I don't like to do.
yeah. Yeah. The stuff that we don't like to do is is often the stuff that like sets us free.
Uh, that's a tough one. What is that for you? What do you like to not confront?
Mm, um, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, you're good on fitness. You're good on family. Um, you're pretty good about handling stuff as it comes up, I'd say.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's been in my recovery. I think that's been kind of a staple as well as, like facing stuff that bothers you, and realizing like I have to live with myself, and if something's bothering me, taking action and speaking up about it or finding an opportunity to speak up about things that bother me. And so I often will just for my own headspace as like a way of like self-managing is like try to confront things, confront things in my relationship, like little like quirky things like around the house. I'd like
Yeah.
that's something that's coming to mind, like yeah, just not like expecting something to change, or not allowing myself to be like cranky about, you know, a particular, unfinished project or something, that's not mine. Um, I don't know. That's like a small example,
Yeah.
you know.
Communication is key to
Yeah,
almost everything. Like as long as
communicating.
you communicate, yeah.
Hmm. Um, yeah, that's all I can think of right now, like as like things that what are things that are difficult for me to confront? It's usually, yeah, it's usually like relationship dynamics that can be tricky sometimes that
Yeah.
makes things hard. It's hard to talk through those. Um, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different relationships in your life and you want to be it's and like finding the right time or you don't want to bring
Hmm.
something up to somebody and have it like ruin their day or anything like that. So I think yeah, it usually comes with like yeah, relationships are the toughest. Just any
Yeah.
relationship, friends, relationship with my wife, um, and even sometimes my son, like having like a good dialogue about, certain like yeah, sometimes it's food that I like um would rather. my son not eat and like talk about it and stuff like that,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
just behavior, like screen time, stuff like that is like, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think like with a lot of stuff, I know for myself, if something is either inconvenient or I know it's going to be a hard subject, again, this is where I'll get into like, okay, yeah, I'll handle that later, handle that later, handle that later. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, look how long I let that go on because, all these other things were more important and more pressing and easier to deal with. And then I have this thing that's been sort of growing and festering over here because I'm going to get to it someday or at that point. And literally I just got to get in there and start handling it. And man, it's the key to everything as far as just like having the courage to confront and then do the work. And then that's how we handle it.
Yeah. Yeah. Something I'm not confronting right now is I have a bunch of stuff I need to take to the dump.
Oh, fun.
And it's like it's
Oh,
in a pile and it's in the garage. Um, I just
I
haven't.
mean, the dump at like 110 degrees, that sounds like a terrible place to have to be. Oh,
Yeah,
God. And the
yeah,
seagulls and the trash and the heat, like, oh, yeah, not good.
yeah. It's like I had a window, and it's gone. So, well, it's not gone. It's just will be a little
Are you
more
gonna ignore it
uncomfortable.
till like October, till it cools down?
No, I gotta face it. I'll feel better when I do.
Absolutely. Well, and that's what I've realized. Even just like just taking steps to handle it, then you feel better. Because a lot of times I think I get paralyzed. And it's just like you just got to take those steps forward. As long as you're making steps forward, then you're not going backwards, and it is to some smaller degree getting handled. Yeah,
Yeah,
because like our minds know if it's needs to be done and we're not doing it, even though we don't have attention on it, a little bit of our attention will go to that thing that we should be doing that we're not doing. And so, truly, the way to like mental freedom is to do all those things or be actively doing something towards those things so that our attention isn't stuck by what we should be doing and we're not.
yeah, exactly. Right. We don't want things that we're not doing to occupy too much space in our head, and we're
Right.
not present for our loved ones. We're, not as focused with the tasks that we need to complete in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I also think the more you just like do it, again, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. It's like, oh, that actually went really good. Why the fuck was I avoiding that? Why was I putting that off? Why wasn't I just handling it? Actually, I feel so much better now. It's like, so, but I think we just build it up and we don't want to. But then once we do, it's like, oh shit, I should have did that like fucking 5 years ago. What the hell?
yeah, it's fun. It's like all like, and then it's procrastination, right?
Right. Right.
That's like, that's the thing that gets so many of us into trouble, right? And
Absolutely.
we come up with some sort of excuse or reason, and then we hang on to that.
Yeah.
It's easy,
Yes.
It's like,
And
and
you
then
can
it's
get
like,
you can get confirmation bias from whoever if you tell them about it, they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I don't blame you." And you're like, "Thanks."
right,
Thanks. Yeah, I know. It's awful. I shouldn't.
yeah, don't need to worry about that, right? Yeah. What can I
Exactly.
do?
Yeah, yeah. They're like, "I get it." And you're like, "Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for getting that for me."
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people, it's not like in people's nature to, light a fire under your butt to, get you to make changes,
Right. Right. Well,
because sometimes people react poorly to that,
yeah.
and friendships are lost. We're always worried about, you know, a conversation turning south or pushing too hard on our friends, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think any truth is better than not saying what needs to be said or not doing what needs to be done. Like, and people recognize that. And I think a lot of times, I know for myself, I'll try to shield people from, either hard truths or conversations, but it doesn't do them any favors and it doesn't do me any favors. So it's better just to have them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're good about that.
Oh,
About
thanks, Sam.
talking what's on, yeah, talking about what's on your mind.
Yeah. True. True. It's better that way. Makes it easier. Then you're not thinking about all the things I should have said, didn't do. Yeah, just be done with it.
Yeah, just be done with it. Get it out.
Yeah. But it is trickier with kids. Like that's one thing I don't have to contend with anymore. So, because their brains aren't fully functioning and, you do got to reach them where they're at and that's constantly changing. So, I definitely remember those days. That's not something I have to deal with so much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of my reality. Yeah. But just like the entire basis of the conversation, the more kind of just reminding yourself like I just dealing with stuff early, not letting things kind of turn into this behavior, Um yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
Absolutely.
nice. It's a good
Yeah.
precept.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
Anything?
Thanks for bringing that one up.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. Do we got anything else or are we good? I like just these short ones. Like let's just get in there, get to the point, drop it, move on.
Yeah, that's cool. Right there.
All right. Awesome. See you next week.